you playing?
Hello! We're back here. Welcome to our What the Bleep recap of the Game Awards 2023. I forgot what year it was because it is late and I am sleepy.
Look, we've been here long enough. We may have slipped into next year accidentally.
For those listening in the future, I'm Sean. Mason, Thomas. We've all been going over all of this, and
the Game Awards literally just
ended.
We just finished the Game Awards 2023. If you were watching the stream of us doing that, hello.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically it.
And if you're listening in the future, hello.
Yeah.
We just saw Baldur's Gate 3 win.
We did. We watched a lot of things win.
I guess it's a good place to start for our kind of thought here is coming into it, Thomas and I had Legend of Zelda pinned as our pick. And then in the chat, we had our constant chatter, Gibby friend, was like, it's going to be Baldur's Gate 3. And the both of us got sad and were like, that was our number 2. And then it's like, yeah. And
as the night went on.
And then as the night went on, Alan Wake definitely was winning awards. And it felt like, okay, maybe it's going to make a push. But it almost, from the get-go, when Baldur's Gate 3 won Best Performance, it was like the very first award, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win the award.
Yeah.
It felt like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm still astonished by how much Alan Wake 2 won.
I am, and I'm happy.
I was going to say, I'm not upset about it at all, but I'm watching this, and the minute it won, like, its first award, which was, like, Best Game Direction or whatever, I was just like, or no, it was Best Narrative.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, shit.
It was like, whoa, really?
When yours Best Narrative took down my Best Narrative, it was very sad. But for me, sitting here...
Victory.
It overcame a lot of my disappointment that Final Fantasy 16 didn't have a lot of the noms. It was going to lose a lot of them. I just basically circled 2 awards I wanted it to win. I was hoping for Ben Starr to win for Best Performance. He didn't. But it did come away with Best Soundtrack.
Did get
which at least it won that. I was happy, despite all that. And then I think the biggest surprise of the night, Street Fighter 6 won Fighting Game.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I had Mortal Kombat 1 pinned.
That seemed like, and just there, all of us across the board kind of were expecting Mortal Kombat 1, and then Street Fighter 6 actually won Fighting Game.
It's like there's some kind of like silent majority on that.
And you know what? It was the right choice. It also makes up for last year where Multiversus won, and even though that game's fun enough, that game's not fucking playable.
Or that they nominated games that weren't fighting games?
Yeah, we're fucking Sifu. Fucking Sifu is a fucking fighting game.
Great game, not a fighting
shit.
game. Not a fighting game. Great game, not a fighting game.
Exactly.
And that was kind of the feeling on this. There wasn't any nomination or award that I was upset at this year. I kind of was like, yep, we knew what was going to win.
Nothing really stood out to me as egregiously bad. Like, again, last year was Sifu being in fighting game. It's like, that's not...
Or what was the one that Sonic Frontiers and Genshin Impact were both nominated
that
for?
was Player's Choice. That was
Player's Choice.
That was a whole shebang, and
didn't have anything like that this year.
It was definitely, I think, one of the better beginning to end awards.
It was a
Game
lot.
Awards.
It was a lot more solid.
It felt like they actually. It felt like, and again, anytime you're dealing with people's votes, there's going to be a question of where are people voting, and it's not like, and again, not to say that a panel of 30 or 40 people in a locked room are going to pick better necessarily. We've seen that with things like the Oscars, with weird choices and things like that. Is going to pick better, but it's more swaying to the popular vote on this. Which this year, I think, for what the nominations were and everything, I think we got what it should.
Yeah,
I think it was very solid.
Absolutely.
Probably the funniest award to react to was the Best Performance. Because Sean was like, it's going to be Ben Starr, it's going to be Ben Starr. I'm like, I voted for Cam. I voted for Cameron from Jedi Survivor.
And I think I voted for Yuri.
Yeah,
Yuri Lowenthal.
but Yuri was who I thought was going to win. But as soon as the Baldur's Gate guy showed up, it's like, oh shit, it's going to be that guy.
All of us just went like, oh yeah, Baldur's Gate 3.
It's like, oh, he's going to be that guy.
I am a little sad Ben Starr got shut out. He didn't win, but he's number 1 in my heart. Any other of the, like I said, our recap is going to mostly be the world premieres and the game announcements, but any other kind of award stuff that you felt like needed to be mentioned in the recap?
I didn't mention it when when it came up, but I was both like happy that Forza won best sports game because Forza is my franchise, but at the same time I was like, it'd have to be that one though, because I brought it up before that the newest Forza is kind of disappointing to me.
Forza took 2 awards tonight.
It did.
Too. It
It
won
did.
accessibility
It won
as well.
accessibility.
It's kind of, but it's just such a disappointing game. It's a disappointing game that I love.
I think in the end, like I think everything that went through, it was pretty much Mario Wonder won best family game.
Yeah, which was another one that's like that's not.
And I guess we've talked about a lot on the stream in here like this, and so anybody who watched the stream has heard us say this. But for those in the future that are listening to this, Spider-Man 2 and
Resident
Evil 4 completely getting shut out. Is not surprising because, first of all, Resident Evil 4 I felt like was going to get shut out a lot. Spider-Man 2 not winning a thing.
That's exactly what happened the last time that.
It kind of got stuck in the action like where you thought maybe action game but Alan Wake and things like.
Yeah,
and Legend of Zelda took that one. Legend of Zelda won the action game.
The action adventure. Yeah,
Baldur's Gate took performance
and game of the year
and direction. So like it won direction.
No,
Alan Wake won direction. Alan Wake won direction, which is where for a moment I was like, it won direction, which is closest to the thing, but then obviously.
Well, did Baldur's Gate and Alan Wake 2 both win 3 awards?
I think it's both won 3. No, I think Baldur's Gate ended with 4 because I think they had they may have had 5 because they had like a bunch in a row right at the end.
That's right, my bad.
They were like one award and then just boom at the end they won a bunch.
Yeah, that's.
But yeah, it was a very solid award show. But as the joke is made, people aren't watching the award show for the awards. Unfortunately,
no,
we're not quite there on that. It's for the announcements and
yeah.
I'm not gonna say last year wasn't a disappointment announcement. Last year was a lot of fun. We had a lot of things that we enjoyed, and then later on be like, oh yeah, we saw that. That was cool.
Right.
Transformers.
And that's exactly
this year they came out swinging with a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken
big franchises, IPs, DLC. From the get-go, and even in the first little half hour of the more of the indie, smaller studio stuff, we got some really interesting things out of there.
Yeah, I personally took notes on,
which will be good because I don't remember a lot of the titles.
There was an IGN thing that they were adding the announcements as they were going, so that's what I'm going off of.
The first one that caught my interest, if not necessarily for the sake of, ooh, I want to play that, more like, oh, that's happening. Assassin's Creed VR.
Yeah.
The VR Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, what was it, Nexus?
Yeah, it was only a matter of time, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Now
we knew it was going to happen.
Now that you say that, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Yeah.
So. Ubisoft had to produce 16,000 Assassin's Creeds in a year, so, one had to come out.
Yeah, eventually one was going to be.
Where TMNT, the movie tie-in game VR.
Ooh, I'd play that. Wait, from that movie?
Yes.
No, I wouldn't play that one. I thought you meant from the new movie.
No, we're going back to 2007. There was what was early on there was the game with the girl, the sign language, where she was going into the fantasy world.
Memento?
No.
Memoriam. No.
What? I'm not seeing it on
that was before I grabbed my notepad.
Yeah, that was really early on. Apologies, we're gonna butcher a lot of the names.
It was called Symphony of Memory.
Yeah,
something like that.
Harmonium. That game looked rad as that was the first game that I was like, oh, I want to play that.
It did look really cool.
It looked cool. It looked all like a big long cutscene as well. So
it definitely had that Pixar element to it, especially in the faces.
But it's also it looks fine. I'm sure it'll be cute when it comes out.
She was in the world with all the monsters made out of the instruments.
I was gonna say it reminded me a lot of Alice in Wonderland by musicals.
Has there ever been a game with the subtitle "The Musical" before?
I'm sure.
I don't know, Disneyland.
But
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that game. That game was the first that stuck out that I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to play that. There was only a few more in the early bit.
I think right after that one, ironically, was the one that really stuck out to me, Windblown.
Yeah, that game looked rad.
Yeah, it's from the creator of Dead Cells, which immediately caught my interest. I guess they're like, we've moved from living snot to furries, So now you run around and it's top-down action this time. So I'm guessing it's going to be a roguelite again because the characters were dying over and over.
It definitely felt like a roguelite.
So
I just absolutely I thought that like a lot of the games that came in those looked cool. Kind of like last year, I'm gonna probably forget about a lot of them, and then when they come, when I read an article or I see them, I'm like, oh, cool, and then I buy them,
Right, exactly.
Or play them like that.
So,
that's probably gonna happen. But yeah, but then when we got to the show, the 7 o'clock, Keighley came out and started just show after show after show. They started off with that's the Matthew McConaughey game.
yeah, the not Interstellar.
Not Interstellar.
Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus, which
Exodus,
looked
yeah.
fine. Like, it
Yeah.
looked fine and cool, but it was the second thing that just was the first mic drop of,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, you're coming out swinging here, when we got a free God of War DLC coming out.
Next week.
Next week.
God
For
of,
free, yeah.
God of War Ragnarok Valhalla.
Which is going to be more a roguelike.
Yeah, more of a roguelite.
And it just looked cool. So, like, that was like, oh, I feel like there was a little bit of a missed opportunity in the show to not have, you just had Chris
Christopher
Judge out there announcing the award and then pulled him off to not being the one that dropped that. But
yeah.
You just want more Christopher Judge.
I do. I do.
I'm not judging you.
After that, what did you have next,
Christ,
Thomas?
I
Is
forgot.
something you were looking at?
The next thing I had after that was from the developers of Untitled Goose Game House.
Yeah.
We had Big Walk.
Big Walk.
That game looked-
looks so weird and
It
Cool.
reminded
Why we love video games is sometimes these weird, like, who would have thought Pikmin would have been this big thing from that? That's kind of felt like that feeling of, like, this weird world with these weird creatures. Yeah, that looked so unique, and it's going to be a two-player game.
It looks like multiple players because like there were like
Oh,
4
yeah.
of them on screen at a time. So it reminded me a lot of Pingu.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
those old Pingu animations,
Oh,
specifically
absolutely.
the way their mouths moved.
Mhm.
Reminded me a lot of Pingu.
That was another, like, oh, that looks so cool. Like, I did not expect the people who made Untitled Goose Game to come out with a co-op multiplayer.
Whatever it is.
Whatever
they
this is.
they upgraded.
It looks kind of like a walking sim, but like with an added bit of goofy charm to it. If that makes any sense. So
Yeah, there was a feeling of, like, almost like you were an ant going through different things, but, like, not like,
yeah, but not like an actual ant. Just whatever.
yeah.
It also had the really weird thing where the environments look super realistic, but the goofy ass characters.
Which we said a lot throughout the night, that we like realism with goofiness, which you'll see several that later on that, like, have this realism but also are not.
Right.
Yeah.
That wonderful contradiction of realism and not mixed together. From your list, Thomas, what do you got down next?
Honestly, I have something that I completely forgot about until I'm reading it right now. No Rest for the Wicked.
Yes, that did look interesting. Like, and I said it would look. The look was like, okay, we've seen it there, but then the title, I'm like, I'm down. That title is so good.
Yeah.
And it almost exclusively, I put it down because of the title.
Yeah.
No Rest for the Wicked.
That was just a unique title. And again, it didn't look like the most unique game.
Yeah.
But it definitely looked like it was something that, like,
I
would be interesting.
I didn't write it down, but that Atlas RPG thing, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I honestly
I don't remember the name of it. I just remember the anime. Cool.
Also, shoot. Again, this was before I grabbed my notepad, so I forgot it. But during the pre-show, there was this game that had this kind of Spider-Verse style animation.
Oh yeah.
And the main chick was being followed around by a ghost and had this hack and slash looking combat.
That looked really cool.
That
Yeah.
looked dope, and I can't remember what the hell it was called.
Yeah. Again, apology to the games that we don't remember. We're doing this as quickly after the review, after we just watched 3+ hours.
And again, I only grabbed my
And
notepad.
We're sleepy, but yeah.
Yeah.
But if you remember that game looked really rad. You got the list of just games that came out of there. Yeah.
Yeah, again, I only wrote down the ones that really interested me. Because afterwards was honestly probably my announcement of the night. Where Sega just came out and announced,
That was so
we're
good.
we're remaking a shit ton of
We're gonna,
games.
all
Yes.
those classics that we keep repackaging, just the old games. We're gonna repackage them, but we're gonna remake them
Remaking Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, Streets of Rage, Golden Axe, and Jet Set Radio.
and
Yeah.
more.
And more.
And more,
That was the
yeah.
thing. And more.
That's just the ones that we know of.
Yeah.
And they said this was going to be a thing through multiple years.
The
The-
thing
the
that
main-
I think stuck out the most is we did not get a platform with that.
No, like it's just for. And I think what, honestly, the sickest looking ones to me are Streets of Rage and Golden Axe.
Yeah, Streets of Rage looks so good.
Yeah, it looks like a 3D beat 'em up, but done really well. And
I thought Crazy Taxi looked really
It
good.
did.
Crazy Taxi looked good. Jet Set Radio looked really great. Shinobi has this really good hand drawn art style.
From top to bottom, that was one of the big announcements. We knew Sega was going to have a big announcement with all those things, and we had our suspicions. But that was absolutely like, I don't think any of us, if you would have given us 100 guesses, that we would have said, "Hey, they're remaking their arcade classics."
Yeah.
All
and,
I'm saying is, if Sega can announce 5 games in one night,
No,
No.
I can pitch
no,
17.
No.
cannot.
No. No.
Go over to our Patreon.
Oh, what's that on my list? No.
Go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/whatthebleep, and you will be able to hear us pitch a Sonic the Hedgehog reboot, and you can hear my soul leave my body as Mason pitches a 17-movie franchise.
Anyway, next on my list, one of a couple samurai games.
This is Rise of the Ronin?
Yeah, it's Rise of the
Rise of the
Ronin
looked,
looked sick as shit,
oh my
dude.
god, it looked so good. We kept like coming up with different like game styles and different things that compared like and other things like that, and yet it kind of looks like its own thing.
Yeah.
Like that game, that is one of the top 3 or
It
4
looked
of this.
like
It was so cool.
It looked like a
looking.
little bit Ghost of Tsushima. It looked like a little bit of a Ninja Gaiden.
And it's from Team Ninja. Like
It looked like a little bit of Neo, like Team Ninja did. So.
I was very much into that.
It looks very cool. It's a PlayStation exclusive, sadly, so I won't be able to play it. But
well,
you
let's-
guys let me know how it is.
But there was there was one that was Xbox exclusive at the moment. OD.
Yes.
When Kojima came out and announced his, and then brought out
and
Jordan.
then brought out
Peele.
Jordan Peele. That was a
We don't know
big
much.
one.
It's a horror game. That's all we know. We saw it from everything in the trailer was basically people's faces, and you could see in their eyeballs a door opening.
Yeah, and freaking the hell out. So.
I am so excited.
Legitimately,
for that.
while not knowing anything about it, it's Kojima horror, which we really haven't seen since PT, the
PT,
playable
so-
trailer. That was supposed to be the Silent Hill reboot with him and Guillermo del Toro.
Which, completely off topic, that is one of the hardest reveals of all time. That game never came out, and I'm still upset.
Yeah.
I'm not even the biggest Silent Hill fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not
No, it
even.
is still to this day the fact that you can't even get the trailer anymore.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why people like
Would sell their
people will
PlayStations
sell
with it.
PlayStation with PT, and they'll make like $1 billion fucking dollars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sold for a lot.
I just got reminded of it because of Rise of Ronin. This game's been in development hell for years, but we finally got a release date, September 9th, 2024, Black Myth Wukong.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was a really cool trailer.
Yeah.
They said we'll see with something that's been development hell. We'll see how good it is. But environmentally, I really liked the look of it and the style that we were getting from it.
And there are like 20-minute gameplay trailers out there that show it off, and it looks phenomenal.
It looks crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome. I legitimately am excited for that.
Crazy and wild and weird.
Yeah. Jurassic Park Survival.
Dude, it's not my number 1 from the night, but oh my goodness. I don't think I've ever thought of making Jurassic Park a survival horror game. And then
no.
as this trailer's going on, I'm like, is this a survival horror Jurassic Park game?
And that's what it's
Such a good idea. Putting it on the original, it looks like putting it on the original island. I don't think it's going to follow the events necessarily of the first movie.
No.
But
To me,
very similar, like its own thing. I really
It looks almost like a sequel that's set in between like Jurassic Park 1 and the rest. So
It'll be
Between
very
one and
interesting to
two,
learn
yeah.
more about the story of that game, but immediately I was like, oh, okay. Because we've gotten a lot, like Jurassic Park has been no stranger to different genres, with the last couple of games being a simulator, park simulators.
yeah, even me and Sean talked about before. Like I brought up that I went to our local arcade and played the Jurassic Park game there. And
That's
a,
right.
That's like
Shooter.
a rail shooter. So
Yeah.
That's
So,
a,
like-
that's a fun rail
It
shooter.
So,
is
like,
a fun
it just-
rail shooter. You're right.
I was really, I legitimately was like, okay, that is something I did not expect that I really, really like.
Absolutely.
We also did get another trailer. Just a real quick. Hey, this is coming out next month for Prince of Persia.
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more on the gameplay. We didn't get that as much as I expected. I'm still excited for it, but
I'm only bringing that up because the next game on my list reminded me a lot of it. Tales of Kenzera's
yep,
Yeah.
dude, that side-scrolling
side-scrolling action with a lot of elemental powers. I'm like, that looks sick.
and
That did look sick.
the style and the art is what stuck out in that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That
Oh
game
my
looks
goodness.
Stunning.
Yeah, it's drenched in like kind of African mythology, which is
Yeah, and they brought out
mythology
the
for-
actor who came on, brought out. He talked about how he was working on it after the loss of his dad. I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And like this was really impactful to
Which-
him. And then it was
I don't mean to dismiss it at all, but it was very funny to me because he said how the death of his dad impacted him, and I'm expecting okay, so it's going to be one of those indie games that talks about depression or anything. Not that that's bad, but that's what I expected. No, he brings out this fucking action side scroller about killing gods, and I was like, all right, we all deal in different ways, brother.
Yeah, that
I'm
was-
in. I'm in.
I'm-
Had we got at this point? Had we gotten the Tenkaichi Sparking Zero?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so now I'll just bring in that because a couple things that you passed over that would have been announced by this point that I was excited for.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. I was just trying to like kind of piece where we were in the store. We finally got the new Budokai Tenkaichi or Sparking Zero. Looks like it's going to have a big roster. We saw actual gameplay, which means, it's probably not that far out.
Looks gorgeous.
It looks
Looks
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
I'm really excited. Didn't know anything about what they're doing story mode-wise, but, hey, look, getting a sequel to Tenkaichi 3, a decade and a half after that released is awesome.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected in a million years for Dragon Ball to make an appearance.
I would have.
Oh yeah, they've done it before a couple of times, but like it's great that we're getting we've gotten we've talked about it a lot. We've gotten the Arxis, we've got had fighters. It's nice that we're gonna get back to my favorite style of fighting games.
The
A lot
arena
of them.
fighters.
I said getting some of the arena fighters back because I like seeing them a lot.
I mean, I'm trying to think. Did we get One Piece Odyssey last year for the Game Awards?
Yes.
What was
I
that?
think so.
I thought that was Summer Game Fest.
Was it
I
Summer Game
think that
Fest?
was Summer Game
Summer
Fest.
Okay.
But and then the thing that stuck out most for that trailer was just that there was some abstract characters in it, and I was like, "Oh, we getting a big roster." They're only putting that character in there because they're telling you this roster about to be
We got a big
huge.
roster.
And a little bit before that, we didn't get much, but we got the reveal of the theme for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That
Yes.
was nice. It was performed. The theme was really good. I'm really excited for that game. It's coming out soon. They didn't reveal a whole lot. They didn't do a whole lot of trailer. It was just there. And we got that Final Fantasy crossovers come. New something else Final Fantasy. It's with crossing over to Apex. Not quite as disappointed as the Taco Bell DoorDash commercial from the Summer Game Fest, but I was really not needing a Final Fantasy Apex crossover.
Final Fantasy's crossover with a lot to be.
It does.
It does.
Square, like me, are whores.
I'll be honest. I put this down for these guys because I have not played a Life is Strange game. Lost Records.
Yeah, and we
Yes,
didn't
that
get much
game looks so
story.
cool.
And again, it's one that's late next year. I think is what they said on the late, and they hadn't a story on it. But it was cool that it looks like it's following the Life is Strange gameplay, but it is not a Life is Strange game. There's a lot of rumors. Are they going to make a Life is Strange 4, or are they going to do something different? And it looks like they're going to do a different story that's not in that sort of universe. I'll be really interested to see what the gameplay mechanics are, but what we saw, like a campfire, four women go out, or it looks like maybe high school age, college age girls go out on a camp, something happens, and it kind of said that was 27 years ago.
It gives me like It vibes.
Yeah, it gives some very interesting horror aesthetics that we maybe haven't gotten in a lot of Life is Strange stuff. I'm intrigued. I don't know what we're gonna get from it, but that was a very interesting tease.
And it opened with them all like in a band, and I was like, I'm immediately in. If that's how you get me to play a Life is Strange type game. They threw in a band in there, and I was like,
Yes,
yep, I'm in.
Mason is music sexual. But yeah, that was a good reveal.
And it's very funny because I felt it's not that I don't care about Life is Strange. I just kind of felt nothing because I was like, it looks neat. Right after that, we got the reveal where I was like, okay, I'm immediately on board. The first Berserker Kazan from the
That
DMC
game,
universe.
oh my gosh, realistic environments, cartoon or animated characters. That game looks amazing.
Not only does it look amazing, I'm a sucker for. It's a really weird character design. I'm a sucker for shirtless, pale motherfuckers with long hair who look like they've been drenched in blood. And yep, that was what the Berserker was.
I was sold. It took like 3 shots into the trailer, and both Thomas and I were like, sold.
Yeah,
Sold.
immediately I was on board.
Yeah.
It also helps that I really like the kind of the Berserker character in DNF Duel and DNF in general. So I'm like, oh, yep, exploring the lore of the Berserker is really cool.
Absolutely. Okay, what else do you got?
I only have like one more game.
Well, and I know what I figured.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and you know what it is. So it's
They announced from the people of Deathloop
from the people behind Deathloop
and Dishonor.
Dishonor.
And it was like a
And
trailer. It's a guy getting his shave,
Yeah.
and then he has a gun, and we're like, huh, that's kind of cool. And then
Yeah, he puts on a trench coat, puts in a gun, and I'm like, okay. And he starts pulling out a sword, and all 3 of us at the same time were like,
oh, so it's
that
Blade.
fucking
Is that Blade?
He's like, so it's fucking Blade.
They're
And then it
making
is, yeah.
Marvel Blade, and that was probably.
Another Marvel game that we're never gonna hear anything about.
It's a different studio than Insomniac, so like the thing about the Wolverine is they knew that Spider-Man 2 was going to take the forefront when they announced it. We will hear more of Wolverine in the future.
I'm kidding.
But we will hear more. But yeah, we talked a lot about this in the stream, and it is really cool that Marvel is branching out to these nice big studios and doing different games off of each character.
Yeah,
we've seen it. We saw it with Guardians of the Galaxy. We've seen it now, with the Spider-Man games, Spider-Man 1 and 2, and now Blade coming, Wolverine for Insomniac. It was very cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are like, oh, Insomniac keep making these Marvel games, and I'm like, no, I think it would be better if they just bring characters to people who would do well.
Yeah.
Developing them.
And again, we've got legitimately we're in a pretty good era of Marvel games. We had Midnight Suns, the Guardians of the Galaxy game, the 2 Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
Wolverine and Blade are coming.
Yeah, honestly, if you take out the big Avengers elephant in the room, we're in a good era for Marvel.
And even that, while that game is flawed and got a lot of problems, it's not awful. It's not great, and its flaws way outweigh its positives.
I was gonna say, I agree to disagree on that one, but
It's got some big problems. It's got some big problems.
Yeah,
we got a little bit more of Kill the Justice League. I'm hopeful with Rocksteady.
I want to be more excited for that game than I am.
We got some cool, a couple other games. We got for me, the big thing, we got DLC for Final Fantasy 16. We got there. Leviathan's coming. I think the interesting thing on that was that we got, that it's taking place before the end of 16. There's a lot of question, would it be earlier, later? Where would it take place? It's going to be right before the ending. I don't know how they're going to do story-wise that. I don't know how much of the cinematics we're going to get. DLC, we don't always get cinematics. Sometimes it's just gameplay, so... But I'm really excited for more 16. Yeah, and then there was a lot of shooters. We had a lot of the No Man's Skies people doing something else.
Yeah,
we had a Monster Hunter reveal at the end.
A bunch of No Man's Sky, Helldivers, that thing that we thought was Starship Troopers the first time we saw it. And the big reveal at the end was Capcom doing Monster Hunter Wild.
Yeah.
Which looks good. That's about it. I'm not a big Monster Hunter guy.
It looks cool. It looks really cool. Unfortunately, I said neither Thomas nor I or Mason. It's PlayStation, so are big Monster Hunter fans. Despite the fact that again, they're pretty games. They look cool. I like the aesthetic. I like them. It's a big announcement. It's good for. I'm very happy that the fans of it are going to get it.
I'm sure I'm going to look it up later, and people are going to be losing their shit.
I'm
in
sure.
Online reactions. So.
The only other game I wanted to mention was that we are getting a new Mana game, Visions of Mana.
Visions of Mana.
And that
that's
looks really pretty.
Yeah, because
really
I played Secrets of Mana. That's one of the only RPGs games I've played.
I love the Mana
really
games.
Like it.
The Mana games rock, and it's awesome that we're getting Visions of Mana.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I really like the Mana games because they're like hack and slash with RPG elements, which is more
your speed.
Yeah, more up my alley. So
there was a lot of anime stuff, a lot of anime games. We got a new from the Genshin guys, a new game.
Yep, which is urban fantasy and it's just a bear with a chain.
The studio that's splintering off from Rockstar announced that they're doing a big open world third party.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
AAA.
Looks like kind of cyberpunk-esque world.
Yeah.
Game that we got a cinematic trailer for. It was cool.
That one with the exo armor. That
Yeah.
Exodia or whatever it was.
Exodia, obliterate.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
The last hour of the show was filled with a lot of cinematic trailers.
yeah, and a lot of stuff that like unfortunately didn't hit us as much. We were also coming down from the blade.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So,
But overall, again, Game Awards was awesome.
Absolutely.
Game Awards was
We've
really
kind
good this year.
of rapid fired a lot of the games we liked on there. I think we'll end it with of the night most anticipated. Mason, go.
Most anticipated, probably OD. I think that one's the one that even though we didn't see a lot of it, that's kind of how Hideo Kojima likes to announce his games.
It's also
is with-
kind of the point.
is
Yeah.
by showing nothing. But like just that idea of Kojima and Peele like meeting of the minds right there, and the fact that it's also Xbox exclusive. That
Means
just warms
Kojima's
my
got
heart.
an exclusive on each system
Yeah.
coming out.
That just
It's so
warms my heart so much because there's so many times where I look through the list of games on Game Pass, where I look at the games that are coming up on Xbox, and I'm like, none of these are really hooking me in I think get PlayStation games do for people who play PlayStation games, and then I see this coming just for Xbox, and I'm like, oh, it warms my heart. I'm very much looking forward to that one too. That's the one.
All right, Thomas, what was your most anticipated?
I mean, honestly, the Sega announcement was my favorite announcement, but in terms of most anticipated game, I mean, I said it. It's the first Berserker. That looks just so up my alley with this bloody anime-ass bullshit. So,
We know that obviously Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is probably most anticipated. It wasn't big of an announcement, so if of the announcements today, it's either going to be Dragon Ball Sparking Zero or it was going to be Rise of the Ronin. Those were the two games that
Yeah.
absolutely stuck out to me.
I was going to say, mine was kind of a three-way toss-up between the Sega
Oh yeah, I know.
Berserker and Rise of the Ronin.
Once we know more about the Sega stuff, I think that'll be a lot of hype.
Yeah,
The
'cause
summer game stuff and things like that. When we know
Like-
which
like-
system they're coming out on.
I mean, like, the minute those games get announced, I'm probably pre-ordering them.
Yeah, so like it was big. It was
Honorable-
also. Oh, go ahead.
Honorable mention to the finals as well. That
Oh
was
yeah,
really fun.
that was kind of
Oh, yeah.
a game that just came out.
The kind of,
That's another one.
And the
Very
Harmonium,
much
I
And
absolutely
Harmonium,
Yeah.
adored that.
And again, I feel bad that I can't remember the name, but that one at the beginning, the Lost Ends or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, big excitement. We really enjoyed the Game Awards this year.
We did.
A lot of big announcements, and it was really fun to sit here and react to it and talk about it. If you had a award that you enjoyed tonight, something you liked, something you disliked, an announcement, let us know. Drop us an email, bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. That's bleepyouplaying@gmail.com. Or, check out any of our episodes. We're available on all podcasting apps, on patreon.com/whatthebleep, where we talk about video games. Season 3 just dropped today.
We talk about Dragon Ball Evolution, which can at the best of times be considered a game.
And one
Some
of the
days.
games.
But thank you all. This was awesome. And big shout out to Gibby Friend for subscribing tonight.
Woohoo!
And
Hey,
just hanging out in the
Gibby.
chat. We appreciated it. We hope you all have a good night. And we'll see you next time. Burn it.